My name's Debra Seddon.
How long have you been fostering?
I've been fostering now for the London Borough of Croydon for 10 years.
What made you decide to become a foster?
Well, it's quite a strange story, really. I didn't actually one day wake up and think, I think I want to go out there and foster teenage children. It was something I'd never really given any thought to. And then one day, one of my son's friends at school needed somewhere. My son said to social services, my mum will have him for the night. And it just went from there, really. The young person went back home. I later found out that he ended up in a children's home. I visited the children's home and I thought, this is something that I really want to do. There were so many young people there with so many different problems and issues. And I thought, this is something I want to do. So I contacted social services and said, how do I begin to be a foster carer and how can I help young people? And that was how I really got into it.
And when you contacted the authorities, what was their reaction?
I think they were pleasantly surprised, but normally people give it a lot of consideration beforehand and go to induction meetings and really thought of it beforehand. So my entry into it was perhaps completely different from the normal entry of people. They've discussed it, they've thought about it, but at the time I was a single carer. So since then I've got a partner. So it was a decision that only I needed to make, really. So that was really I just thought, once I saw those people in the children's home, those children, and started talking to them, because I went to visit them regularly then, I just realised that some of these issues weren't as big as, people thought they were. And I was quite naive as to children's homes and children with the problems and that before I got involved in fostering. I think, if I'm honest, I always felt the worst. Thought, they're always going to be in gangs or stealing or, troublesome. And would I want that in my house? But once I started to get to know the children, I found out that really wasn't the case.
It was much better and easier than you thought?
Much better and easier than I thought. The first child I had was difficult, and I think a lot of that was my inexperience. But to be fair, the local authority gave me a lot of training, and there was such a variety of training as well that you can undertake. So whereas I had teenagers and I wanted to specialise with teenagers, they gave me a lot of courses related to managing teenage behaviour and managing adolescence, hormones and sexual health. So there was a lot of support behind the scenes which enabled me to increase my knowledge, which then I could pass on to the children. So I found it a lot easier as time went on. I think your first one is always a little bit daunting because you never know what to expect and it's all new to you as well.
So just talk me through some of the teenagers that you've looked after over the years. Could you put a number to it?
I've had roughly about 16 to 17 teenagers. Some of them have been here for short stayed for 5 or 6 days, and then they've moved on to more permanent places. And some of them I've had permanent that have now moved on into independent living. And when I first started fostering as well, because I wanted to help the children when they left me into independent living, social services had this system that I could then become a support worker. So I did some training around that and became a support worker to help the young people that left me and other young people into independent living, so that they'd get some knowledge from me on how to deal with gas, electricity, water rates and all that, because obviously that was a whole new independent skill. Couldn't teach them within your house, they had to be out there in the big wide world to do it. So, in total, I suppose about 20 children, some of them for short term and a few of them for long term, going right into independent living.
What would you say to anyone watching this who's thinking of taking on fostering?
Personally, I found it very, very rewarding. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say it doesn't come without some difficulties. It does. Where the rewarding is that when you see a young person and their life has turned around and they've had bad feelings about themselves and then they become more positive and they can go out there and you've stopped them from getting into trouble with the police and you've made a difference to their life, then that gives me so much satisfaction. And I think from my perspective, I just see my fostering experience as a very extended family. I mean, I have a big family now. You know, we have a lot of, foster children that regularly come back to us, spend Christmas with us, and birthdays, and their main celebrations of 21st, baby showers, that sort of thing. So, I found it very, very rewarding, but challenging. But the rewards definitely outweigh the challenges, without a doubt.
And we've got Luke and Louisa dropped in today to look up.
Yeah, they're regular visitors as well. I'm quite fortunate, really, because a lot of my young people do come back regularly. Louise and Luke have come up today to see us, and Louise has now had her child of her own, which is really nice, because now I'm like a foster grandmother, so it just keeps going on and on. So it's wonderful, really.
But there's that constant need, there's a constant need for fosterers to come forward. There's always a shortage. There is a shortage, and unfortunately there is a shortage as well with teenagers. I mean, it's a lot easier in some respects. People think, I love the little ones, but they will eventually grow up to be the teenagers. And I think to take in a teenager, I think there's a lot more fear factor around it. People are a lot more nervous about taking the teenagers, and it's very stereotypical. Teenagers are this, they're going to be in gangs and whatever. And I can honestly say that that's not been my experience. There have been difficulties. They are very independent, but no more independent than a 2-year-old having a tantrum on the kitchen floor. A teenager would most probably have a tantrum, slam the door and walk out for an hour and calm themselves down. So, it's just different ways of managing it, But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah? All of you then. I'll make you one then. Nick, you don't want tea, darling, do you? Yeah, you want tea as well? Alright.
I'm Louise Collin.
How old are you, Louise?
I am 23.
And how long were you fostered?
I was fostered from around 9.5 years old until I was 18.
And you came to Debbie as a teenager, as I understand it?
Yeah, I was around 16.5 when I came here.
What was that like when you first pitched up here?
Oh, well, when I first came here, it was a bit scary because it is daunting coming into like a new family environment, because you come from obviously your real family, and then obviously you come to a new family, you don't really know what to expect.
And what was it like when you were here?
Well, I found at first I was really quite scared. I would hide myself away in my room and would sneak out to go to the toilet, get a cup of tea, and then obviously at first, because you don't really know people's personalities, so you kind of have to get used to them. But obviously once I was comfortable, I loved it here.
I get the impression Debbie would take no nonsense from anyone.
Oh no, definitely not. With anything in life, you have to have rules, and I found that really good, that there are boundaries and there's rules that you have to stick by, because it's just like with life, that's how it is.
Would things have been different for you, do you think, if you hadn't been here?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think, if I wasn't fostered or lived here, I think I would have turned out very, very differently.
Tell me why.
Well, when my upbringing, when I was younger with my real family, that wasn't really, it was very troubled and not really an environment you would put a child in. And I know for a fact that I had guidance with my foster parents. I had, like, you felt love, emotion. Like, that's not what I always had when I was younger.
You felt love?
Yeah, I did. Like, I felt, at first you don't really feel part of the family because you're kind of thrust into a new environment with these people that you don't know. They've obviously got their daughter and son, and you feel a bit like an outsider. But once you get used to it and you open up, you put your walls down sort of thing, and you let people in, then you kind of know that you can be loved, and you're not like a little foster child that no one cares about. You can actually be someone.
What does Debbie mean to you today?
Well, I would say she's like a mother sort of thing. Like, I look to her for guidance, I'll talk to her if I've got problems. I've got my son now, so I trust my son's life with her. So that must say a lot that I can do that.
At some point down the road, could you see yourself being a foster mum?
That's when I was younger. That's what I had before I had kids. I always knew I wanted to be a mum, and I thought I would like to do that because I understand it from my point of view. That there are a lot of kids out there that need to be loved, and you need to take care of them, give them guidance, and kind of tell them that there is someone there that can support them, and they're not all just left alone. That they need someone.
Love you.
My name is Luke Harvey. I'm 20 years old.
How long were you fostered for, Luke?
I was fostered between the ages of 16 and 18.
Here with Debbie?
No, first of all, I started off with another foster carer, but unfortunately things didn't work out and it broke down, and I come to stay here because originally I was just here for a respite, once weekend every month or so, but then obviously because the situation in the other foster care broke down, I come to live here, and it's the best decision ever. I feel. So.
Why? Tell me why.
Why? Because with me, my upbringing weren't brilliant, and if I'm really honest, my upbringing, I wouldn't put a kid in that situation. But as the things happen, I come here and I was self-conscious, I was nervous, didn't really like talking or communicating or getting involved in the family unit, or kept me within me, and Debbie and Dave kind of brought me out as a person, confidence and skills that I would use for the rest of my life.
How? How did they do that?
How? Because they gave me something that I had never truly had. Might have been there, but it weren't truly there. They gave me the love and support I needed, and the freedom to talk and express rather than judge me because of stuff that's happened in the past. And as I see it, I have two mums and I have two dads. I have my real mum and dad, but I have Debbie and Dave, and I respect them, and they're the lifesavers, because if I'm really honest, I wouldn't have seen myself, if I was to look back when I was 14, 15, I wouldn't have seen myself alive really, because I didn't really care. I lost self-belief in me, I did about me. I would make sure I would hurt myself emotionally.
There's an awful lot of love in this house.
Yeah, there is. Like I said, I'll come here on respite and I felt the love. And obviously, because things in the other place weren't brilliant, I wanted to actually come here, and so I couldn't wait for respite. So when the opportunity come to live here full time, I kind of snapped at it, and like I said, I enjoyed it, and I keep in touch with Debbie all the time. If I'm not up here, I'm Facebooking her or texting her. So yeah, and I have a really close bond with Dave, her partner. He's my kind of role model as a male. We went to football together, and he talked about boys stuff, and he gave me the sense of male bonding, and like he was like a friend rather than somebody that was high mighty. Not he did have rules, but he was like a calm rather than an aggressive kind of authority. And like I said, I love Debbie and Dave to pieces. If they asked me to do anything and I can do it, I would do it. Seriously. And this is like my home. I may not live here, but this is my home, and every time I come up here and then go back home, I always have a smile on my face, and can't wait to come up here again, really.
Oh dear.
Hope that was okay.
It's perfect, it's from your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're organised now. Yeah, she's going to be 21 soon. Laura, this is my birth daughter. She gets on really, really well with all the foster children. So they've all been invited to her birthday soon for her 21st. So it looks like a big occasion coming up. Oh yeah, I bought her a baby grow, and Laura's bought her, oh it's lovely, it's a motorbike made out of all, yeah, it's like a baby grow. It's got wheels and everything on the little bars, it's got little socks, she's got it in the garage. It looks really lovely, it's beautiful. It's about that big, but it's like one of those, you know, really special gifts that you'll remember. I think, oh, that was really special. It's lovely.